What's going on, everybody? How you doing? This is a comment section number 10. Wow, amazing. On the videos that I had the amp, I forgot that I also got some records for super cheap, which I love. Finding records for like $1, love that. That's generally what all these are for the most part. It's like very few times will I pay up unless it's something that I really want or it's like a gift or something like that. But normally it's like going to thrift stores and seeing what they got, which down here it's mostly like classical and like super old stuff like Lawrence Welk, you know, stuff like that. Let's see what I got. Okay, so I found this. That isn't the price, you know how these are. Joan Baez. And all I saw, I was like, okay, yeah, Joan Baez, that's cool. And then I saw the back, and I didn't even need to read who it was. I was like, that's James Jamerson. Oh, this is mine. I don't know this record, but it's live. And I haven't played it yet, but I'm super excited. James Jamerson. That's incredible. Super incredible. So here's another one. This is not like this is a classic record, but it's not something that I love or any of that kind of thing. I picked it up because it was $1 and I was like, you know what? Okay, that's cool. I'll get it. Classic. This is not my kind of deal, but it's a classic record, right? I felt like I had to get it. Would have been not smart to not pick up. Oh, I found this. That's awesome. Love it. Very cool. I found this. Come on. Had to get it. Had to get it. Had to get it. And I found this. Had to get it, right? It's just like one of those things. Had to get it. So that's what I found for $1. All right, and this is the comment section. So first up is a couple of emails that I received. First is an email for, this is Gary Lagstrom, the infamous Gary Lagstrom injury update. If you don't know, Gary, aka all caps, Lagstrom. He injured himself pretty badly, and his wife, because he just can't get away, his poor wife he's now making his poor wife write all of the comments. So everything that you're seeing from Gary Lagstrom now is his wife, which is, you know, super sweet of her. Yeah, I feel like we need to do something for Gary. So here's what it says. Hello, Justin. This is Gary's wife, Michelle. Gary wanted me to update you on his injury. He has a fracture in 3 areas along his right arm. We have concrete stairs outside on our patio that have 8 steps total. He fell down the stairs when our dog, Chloe, a pit bull, got between his feet as he was going to take a step and accidentally tripped him up. The dog is okay, but Gary took the brunt of it. He will be in a cast minimum 3 months with surgery as a real possibility. That's freaking terrible. Please keep him and our family in your prayers as Gary is the main breadwinner of our family. Thanks from our family to yours sincerely, the Lagstrom family. That's why I'm like, I feel like we need to do something for Gary. I should have come on here with a plan. I don't have a plan yet. I do not have a plan yet, but I feel like we need to do something for Gary because Gary is a huge part of this community. How many comments does he comment on every video? You know, because they're all in caps. Not anymore. I asked his wife. I said, okay, now say it like Gary. Like Gary. I think it's a comment that I pulled, actually. I said, okay, now say it like Gary in all caps. Use all caps. It'll be like Gary. I probably have that comment. It'll probably be in one of these comment sections. But anyways, I feel like we need to do something for Gary because that's not a good situation. 3 months and he's the breadwinner. That's not living in Santa Monica, right? You live in Santa Monica. That's not cheap. Yeah, right. Even if you own your house, you know, like outright, that's not cheap. So if anybody has any ideas, again, if I were better, I would have thought of what to do. So maybe we need to do like a GoFund Gary or something. I don't know. I feel like we should be helping Gary. So what do you guys think? Gary's probably watching this. Hopefully he's watching this. Hey, Gary, set up a GoFundMe and send me the link and I'll post it. you know, so we can help your ass out. All right, so yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I would. Okay, so that's the update from Gary. Okay, and then I got another email. This is from Randy. Randy, wow, amazing. Randy in the comments. Okay, so Randy sent me this email. The cat is over here. I should probably, here, this is for Gary. There you go. There she is, sleeping on the chair, bothering her. Wow, she wants to get down. Okay, that was for Gary. There you go. Okay, so this email is from Randy. It says, hey Justin, Randy from Alabama here. Just had to drop a line at 4:20 in the morning to share a weird ass Rush dream with you. LOL. I'm not running a fever, but it was weird and funny and thought I'd share. Anyways, I know you're not a huge movie guy, but like the movie Inception with Leo DiCaprio, you always find yourself in the middle of a dream and don't remember the start. Somehow I was traveling on the same plane, bus, boat, or whatever form of travel with Rush. We became stranded, lost in the middle of nowhere, and somehow we are in the most northern part of the Arctic. Probably because they're from Canada, right? That's probably why. That's what makes sense to me. Canada, I just feel like they're just all bundled up. Yeah, it just makes sense. Lo and behold, you happen to randomly be coming by. That would not be happening in the Arctic. This is a dream. Sorry, I need to... Sorry, my bad. And I recognize you and started flagging you down, yelling to the band, hey, that's Justin from YouTube. He's doing this huge Rush discography thing online. It's a thing. Of course, they hadn't heard of you. Damn. Rude. And you stopped and picked us up. You took us to your house in the middle of nowhere and was explaining to me that living in Florida was all a cover-up. Yeah, I wish. You and Camilla were gracious hosts, or maybe it is, who knows. Putting us up, feeding us, etc. Rush agreed to take pics, doing interviews, and even perform some silly-ass stupid skits on camera for your channel. I was involved in all of them as well. Well, eventually, Rush's people were able to bring in a chopper to pick them up, but didn't offer to take me with them. I'm like, well, how am I going to get home? There was no local airport, so you took me to a bus station. I ended up having to ride a Greyhound bus for like 2 weeks to get home to Alabama. When I got home, I was excited to see the channel content with us hanging with Rush, and you had edited me out of everything. I was like, WTF, dude, really? I was so crushed. Anyways, I know this is a really random email, but I had binge watched a bunch of your videos before bed where I had gotten behind over the weekend. I appreciate the journey you have taken and agree with most of your assessments. Also, I love your sense of humor, your trollish nature, and being real. Thanks for that. Looking forward to finishing the journey with you, to quote Rush, before I leave, be cool or be cast out. Randy in Bama. Wow, amazing. And I showed that to my wife, and she was like, oh, you got to read that. You got to read that. So hopefully that's all right. And there we have it. I mean, I'm not going to tell you guys not to binge watch the videos before bed. I'm not going to do that. That would be not good for business. Is that what Rush would say? Not good for business. Right. I feel like they have a better business than I do. Okay. So, next up, Yes Head. What's happening? I don't know what video this is on, but it was on a video. Wow, Justin, as a guy who's worked, produced even, with groups like Earth, Wind & Fire, the fact that you don't know what AOR, MOR mean is a surprise. It's not a slam. Oh, this was on a Little River Band, I think. This is on one of the Little River Band donation requests. And it actually happened on another, I think it was the Alan Parsons, where AOR came up again, but it actually said what it was. And during the Little River Band videos, I was like, what is this? And I didn't look it up, and I was guessing, and the guesses were wrong and terrible. But I always figure that's funnier just to leave it like that. But anyways, whatever. In fact, you don't know what AOR, MOR mean is a surprise. It's not a slam. It just goes to show how much time has passed since someone like you would have possibly been thinking about production with the target of radio programming. That's why I said I'm trying to remember why I said what I said next. That stacked opening vocal was a thing back in the 70s. These guys, Kansas, Carry On Wayward's Right, Queen, Eagles, Ambrosia, all used it to good effect. I'm not familiar with Ambrosia. I'm familiar with everybody else you mentioned, but not Ambrosia, actually. And I said, I didn't know the acronyms is all. Another video will be out next week where the acronyms come up again, and I looked them up and facepalm. Right. So, yeah, that was the Alan Parsons video. Also, yeah, the music industry of the 70s wasn't the same as the 80s, then the 90s, etc., etc. I'll discuss a bit more in the comment section, probably number 9 or 10. I don't remember what I'm on next. Goes to show how much time has passed since someone like you would have possibly been thinking about production with the target of radio programming. Okay, so for the Earth, Wind & Fire project that I did, right, for them, the songs I wrote, you know, co-wrote, everything is co-wrote these days for sure. They basically came to me and said, the person that I was writing with came to me and said, here's what they want. And they basically named some artists that were not Earth, Wind & Fire that they wanted music like. And it was like pop music, like current pop music at the time. And I was just like, okay. I mean, yeah, yep, yep, okay, yeah, all right, I'll do that. And I tried, and I feel like I did a good job, but it's not Earth, Wind & Fire music. That was kind of the thing about it for me. To me, if you listen to the album that I worked on, which I think is a good album actually, I would say that the songs that I did were not, I think the first half of the record is better. I just do. And it's, you know, I mean, I wrote, I don't know how many songs, and they picked 4, which I'm super lucky about. I feel like there were others that they didn't pick that were way more Earth, Wind & Fire, in my opinion, than some of the ones that I did. Some of them. There was one, Hero as He Rose is pretty Earth, Wind & Fire, I think. I wrote that. I definitely wrote that more. That was before I got the instructions to be more, like, poppy about it. Night of My Life is the song that I wrote that if one of the pop artists of the day at that time would have done it, it would have been a smash, in my opinion. Like, when I played it for those guys, Philip Bailey literally said, everything is a hook. This is a hook. This is a hook. Every section is a hook. And that's how I wrote it. You asked for a pop song, you know, like you asked for a pop song, you know, and we're trying to arrange it in a way that would work for Earth, Wind & Fire, you know. Anyways, so to me, there are other songs. I don't even remember. It's been a while since I've checked out the record. Let me see. This one. That's what this is up there. There's a glare, so it's hard to see. But this record. Love is Law. Love is Law. Guiding Lights. Yeah, Sign On is great. Sign On has Danny McClain on it. Danny McClain, I went to Berkeley with Danny McClain. He's an incredible singer. Incredible singer. And then I did a bunch of the, you know, a lot of the second half. Dance Floor Splashes, Night of My Life. And then on the Red record, Hero as He Rose. That's a whole other thing. I've gotten into it in the past. So I'm not going to get into it again. They kind of split up the record, and some they did like a Target only release, and they did a Best Buy only release, and et cetera, et cetera. It's all the tracks now, including the like Target exclusives and Best Buy exclusives, are all on Spotify now. But at the time, it was like, no, you have to go to Target to get those tracks. You have to go to Best Buy to get those tracks, stuff like that. So, you know, again, music business, right? To me, the first side A of the album really is like good Earth, Wind & Fire. Not that, I mean, I mean, Splashes, I'm super proud of that. That was such a beautiful song. I wrote that before this was even an idea. This was even a thing. That actually probably is what started my involvement in it, because I wrote it and with my writing partner, and Philip Bailey heard it and was like, I'm doing that song. I'm doing Splashes. I'm doing that song. It's because he likes jazz, and it's a jazz song. It's a very basic modal jazz song. So, and he got Terrence Blanchard to play trumpet on it, which is like incredible for me. That's incredible. Like, for jazz cred, that's like incredible. That's really freaking cool. So anyways, it was not, to get back onto what you're saying, This was not had nothing to do with targeting of radio. There's none of that anymore. It's all Spotify. It's all it's not like we're trying to get on radio like that. My job was not that. It was the band is asking me for songs like this. My view is, okay, I'm working for the band. They want this. I'm going to deliver this. I'm going to deliver what they want, right? Whether I like it or not, whether I agree with it or not. It's like, that's what you asked for. I'm here to do it. So that's that. I'm just going to do one more and then I'll split it up. Okay, comment section number 4, Catskills, what's going on? Thanks for bringing up my mammoth comment for conversation. It is definitely an interesting topic. To clarify, I can't totally blame Neil himself for the transformation that I think overall ruined the Neil style. Obviously, it is completely admirable for someone set in their ways and decades of gigging and recording experience to take a break and stretch out of their comfort zone and in some ways start from scratch. By the way, yes, I'm referring to the mid-90s lessons with jazz cat Freddie Gruber, not the later lessons with Peter Erskine. Those were early 2010s, I think. I can only imagine those later lessons in some ways helping Peart. I have nothing but the highest respect for Erskine. He is one of the best performers and educators out there. Yeah, it keeps going. Oh, this is a long one. For what it's worth, I blame Gruber more than Peart. With those lessons, from all I've read about them and then analyzing the results, it seems to me Gruber had no earthly idea what made Rush Rush, and basically started from the premise that Peart's problem was that he was not enough in the loose jazzy style that Gruber exemplified from the bygone era. Okay, fine. It's a style that had its heyday and still can set a vibe in a small club. Damn, that's what people think of jazz, basically. That's one of the reasons why I stopped jazz. Because I used to, when I lived in Boston, I was like jazz. Lots of jazz. I was way more influenced by jazz, listening to jazz just constantly. Jazz and R&B. That's really what I was, soul music, all that. That's really what I was listening to. And pulling from and influencing myself with. But I never was like, I never wanted to be a straight up jazz musician. I mostly just wanted the influence because I felt like if you can play and understand jazz, you can play anything. I mean, I never was considering classical or anything like that, ever. I played the electric bass. Never. I mean, I can play upright also, but it was never considering classical, so jazz. And it may be interesting for a musician to explore, but I would argue the techniques were fundamentally incompatible with what Peart contributed to the Rush sound. Specifically, as a drummer who hit the way he did and moved around the kit the way he did, Peart was never known as a groove pocket drummer compared to the other greats, but he still always knew exactly where to place notes in context of the rest of the band to create that unique energy that maintained through all their phases up to that point. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Totally agree with that. I mean, he was the perfect drummer for Rush, really. So yeah, I already belabored the point about Neil's note placement changing from test for echo onward. I don't attribute it only to aging musicians like some are saying. The crisp precision energy of Rush was forever gone, whether Alex and Geddy happened to go the same route independently post-grunge, or they followed the lead on Neil's new approach, or both. I have no idea, but that is one of the burning questions I would ask Alex and Ged if I ever had the unlikely chance. Simultaneously, for whatever reason, the creativity in Neil's drumming compositions also became muted. It's hard to pinpoint why, since it came with a huge stylistic change for the band, but the air drumming factor was also pretty much gone forever. Why? What did Gruber say, and more important, what did Peart hear in those lessons that seemed to shift Peart's imagination and focus from colored, articulated, crafted drum parts to a focus on building up these middle-of-the-road grooves and rudiments around the kit that were at best mildly interesting? Damn. Oh man, yeah. Interesting. This is a comment for the drummers out there. It's a continuation of the conversation. I don't know that I have much to add, really. I just kind of am just the facilitator of the conversation. Right? I think it's interesting. I do. I think it's interesting. If we're talking about Geddy, I may have more things to say since I'm a bass player, but we're not talking about Geddy. We're talking about Neil. I mean, what else, what do I have to say about it, really? I don't know. It's a tough thing. It's a really tough thing because they're not the same people as they were 10, 15, 20 years before doing music. I think it's super admirable and incredible that he went at the level that he was at, that he went and was like, I'm going to keep studying. I'm going to go and find some other person to study with. I think that's really incredible and super admirable. I think that's amazing because he didn't need to do that. He totally didn't need to do that. So I think that's cool. The other person that I think about that who's done that, who I also admire for that reason, is Flea, actually. I'm not a mega, I mean, Red Hot Chili Peppers, they're, you know, they have their place. They're great. There was a period in time where I was into them, right? Like high school and after high school even a bit. My shit was Blood Sugar Sex Magik, and also I think an underrated album is One Hot Minute. I really like One Hot Minute. I think it's underrated for them. Another reason why I think that they're cool is because when I started, after college, when I started teaching bass, all these young kids were coming in with Stadium Arcadium, and it's like, wow, these guys are just grabbing a new generation with their new current music. These kids probably don't know Blood Sugar Sex Magik at all. Well, I mean, that's stuff that, I mean, I like Californication. I thought that that was cool. There was stuff on that that I liked. But really, you know, Blood Sugar Sex Magik is the classic. Super classic. Super classic. So I really like that. And just, you know, he's got a music school, all that. I admire and respect Flea for all those reasons. I think that's great. So yeah, Neil didn't have to go back. I don't know. It's really hard to say and to talk about. I mean, maybe especially as a non-drummer, but it's just, you know, life changes and the things that you think change and your aspirations change and, you know, your viewpoint changes. You're not gonna, no different than he wrote Anthem and then he wrote Red Tide. It's kind of like your viewpoint change. your views change, your life changes, your environment changes, things change. That's just natural. It would make sense that your playing would change also. Miles Davis had his bands, you know, in the 50s, in the 60s. And then he had Bitches Brew. And they did Tutu, you know, stuff like that. Like these different like areas. It's just like evolving. And you just kind of find your stuff that you like. I mean, that's the great thing. Again, that's the great thing about these artists with these incredibly long careers. You can go in and there's going to be something for you, probably. At least it's just really not something for you, like style-wise or something. But you're going to find, you know, that's the benefit of doing what I'm doing, going through the whole discography. Would I have found Grace Under Pressure? Or Signals? Or Permanent Waves, right? Or Ghost of a Chance. That's like prime example. That's like a prime example song of stuff that probably wouldn't have been recommended. Probably was just kind of on not one of their hit albums, not one of their like classic albums, but is a great song. Anyways, all right, that's the video. Thank you guys. I'm gonna do another one because I got a lot more comments. Thank you guys. I'll catch you in the next video.